think back to those days, like how you guys were so important to the city because you had gotten over those 80s years, and you guys, and at that time there was talk about moving the team, there was talk about doing this and that. I guess just how important do you feel like that team was to the city back in the day and what you guys did?
I mean, I think it was very important. I think the way, not just my career, but our team went in that 8.5 years. Thank God it went that way. But we were rock bottom. I mean, my first season, we would get 6,500 people in the building, and it was desolate. Didn't feel like we were going anywhere. But the belief and the culture that was instilled that we built. It didn't take long. I mean, 2-3 years and we were in the playoffs and on a consistent basis. Meaningful hockey in March is never a bad thing. We had to scrap and fight to get in the playoffs every year. But that's one of the things that I'm just the most proud of is our team and our group and the fact that we were able to get in the playoffs. Before that salary cap was a staple and that was a feat. It was a feat for us and it was fun.
You go back and look at the roster you guys had and the roster Colorado had and go, how the hell were you with those guys?
Yeah, yeah, I do. It's still to this day, we were just talking about it, that 7-game series. I mean, that might have been a bigger upset than Dallas, I think. I mean, they were already champions and they were formidable at every position with Peter and Joe in the middle and Lemieux and Kamensky and Foote. And, I mean, the list goes on, and they had a pretty good goaltender, too. So, Cujo was big, but we just battled. And I remember what Peter Forsberg said after. I think he had about 16 points in the series. But he said they just didn't go away. They just, every shift, they're banging you. And it was enough. And I think we beat them like 5-1 in the game 7 in their building.
Yeah,
it was just, they had enough. And they're like, all right, I need a summer. They wanted to, and credit to our team. So it was fun.
Doug, obviously you got the call about a month and a half ago to join the Oilers Hockey Hall of Fame here at Rogers Place. Now that it's here and you see all the alumni and you're up there with Huddy, what's it like kind of taking it all in?
Yeah, it's really, I said this, it's just really cool just to see all the older players and the guys that were Charlie's teammates and Koff and the names that are up in this beautiful room, this beautiful new facility. And I was asked, what's it going to feel like when you see your name up there? That's the cool thing. Simmer was reading the names off that are in the Ring of Honor, and then obviously, the jerseys that are up there. That's special. The tradition here can't be argued. I mean, it's one of the best dynasties in sports, and certainly when you had the greatest player in the game, the game's ever seen, be a focal part of your team, and I don't know. It's just a special place, a great jersey that I was able to wear for 9 years. It's pretty special.
I remember many years ago, the Hockey News did an interview with you, and they asked for your top 5 loudest barns, and you had Rexall Place number 1. What was it like playing a playoff game in Rexall?
Yeah, there's no feeling. It's kind of a full day affair, too. You got to make sure, I've learned the more I played here that you got to get your rest and your motions. You got to throw the lights off in your bedroom for a couple hours, and you always have a pregame nap, but you just need to bring your emotions down a little bit. Even driving to the rink, it was nuts in the streets. And first round, I mean, they got issues here, and there's no doubt about it. But I can never forget walking out the tunnel before the first anthem. It was Game 3, because obviously we were on the road in my first playoff game here, and I couldn't feel myself until about the 8-minute mark of the first. Fortunately, it was 2-0 Dallas. So we came back from that, but I was just awestruck with the amount of noise, and it was almost uncomfortable. So, it's a special place that way for sure.
You were there. You were one of the first superstars after the bunch of superstars left here. Did you feel any pressure at that time to follow them in Edmonton?
God, I think I was probably too young and dumb, maybe. Like I was enjoying it. I think there was always pressure, but the fact that we were where we were was probably better that we started. So we were really a bad team. There's no way around it. We were rebuilding. We had lost. Mess just left. Gretzky had left 3 years before, or 4 years before, and everybody was that team was kind of done, and we were starting over. So the pressure, I think later in my career here, when we started to become a better team, you started hearing a little more. But I didn't really feel. The only pressure I felt was the pressure that playing hockey in Canada, not about trying to match the 80s team, because I don't think anybody thought we could, and nor I don't think anybody ever will. Now, if it's a team that won like one cup and was really solid, you'd feel a little more, but there's no way that we could duplicate what they did and the names that came through that team. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So I think we just tried to use the pride that we had for what they have achieved and tried to make our own identity. It probably was it helped in a positive manner.
You were surprised and maybe shocked the day you were traded here. What was your feeling when you were traded away?
Yeah, I mean, disappointment. I was a Ranger, but I was a kid out of college. I felt like you're just a loyalist to your team, right? You love your team and you buy Rangers gear and you're going to be there forever. And to wake up and say, okay, you got to move your life, and it's a business. You learn really quick. But yeah, I was hurt and scared, and didn't know what to expect. I didn't know a lot of people on the team at all. And I changed rooms and played. That was another time that I didn't really feel myself. I think we won in overtime. Mac T scored in overtime at MSG, and we beat the Rangers. And I have no recollection of the game. And all of a sudden, you're on a plane going to a different city, and it was scary. But 2 weeks after I got here, I was like, what a great group of guys we had, and you realize how special it was. So it didn't take me long. As you're, like I said, young and dumb. I was 22, 21. I mean. We're pretty resilient at that age, so it was. Thank God for that. I wasn't 30 and I knew too much. So.
And when Kevin called you to tell you that you were traded from the Oilers, what was the feeling at that?
Yeah, it was. God, that was tough. Kevin came. Actually, we talked about it last night. He came down to Arizona, and we played a round of golf with my father-in-law, and we went in to have a beer after the round, and we just talking, and he started talking a little bit about contract, and on the ticker, and this is no lie. We were watching an ESPN ticker came across and talked about Jeremy Roenick just signed a deal and it was X amount of dollars, and Kevin goes, look at that. And I'm like, yeah, and I think I was in the top 10 in scoring, and JR was probably 20th or 25th, and Kevin goes, I can't pay you that. And I'm like, I knew then, and then he called me the next couple days and finally gave me the news, and so respectful about it, and we talked about where I would end up landing and a couple options. It was all class, just like I'm seeing this week, and how they've been and how I was treated throughout my career here.
Thanks. Did they ask you about the fan base? What it was like when you were here?
Yeah, amazing. There's really nothing like it. Really nothing like it. Not just the sheer craze of the game of hockey and the love of hockey, but the volume they can do it with, and God, I've never had an experience walking on the ice. It's my first playoff game here. Like I said, I was numb till the end of the first period. So amazing atmosphere here, and I hope we see a good win tonight, and I hope we can get back and playing some June hockey. I'd love to come out and watch a Stanley Cup game here again, just to feel that experience again.